To Merrick Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens. It's kind of far, but I got no choice. At least today is not brutal cold. Yesterday was brutal cold. The little doggy was getting mad. We're in the Napoleon complex. They get so mad at the... You know what bike they freak out on? Is the KLR. The little dogs, they freak the hell out. The XR's not too bad. But the KLR, man, they go fucking nuts. Like, it's like game on. Oh yeah, I feel a big difference on this bike in the cold. Like it's 30 degrees right now. I mean, it's not insanely cold, but I can feel the difference on my knees. The wind is just hitting straight against my knees. And my hands too. I don't know if these handguards just don't, either the heater grips are not hot enough or the handguards are not doing enough. I mean, it seemed to be alright though, but you know what? My other handguards have a square cover over the, it's actually like a half around your whole hand, so no wind can blow into your hands at all. But the heater grips, they feel okay, but they're not like the KLR where they get really hot. Like you got to turn them down. They get so hot. Yesterday I saw a video of a motorcycle cop that got taken out. It wasn't really 100% the driver's fault. It looked like it could be actually partially it could partially be blamed on the design of the highway, because they have like a merge with no sign in the road at all, and the car just hit the side of the side of the road, because it just merges like immediately and there's no warning, and his car bounced off and hit the motorcycle policeman, which is rare. They don't really have motorcycle police in New York like in California where they have highway patrol. They just do funerals and things like that. I think that's pretty good. They got banged up real good, actually. You know, some people were saying, well, why did the driver only get ticketed for improper lane change? Well, the reason is that the highway has like an improper merge. You can't really 100% blame it on the guy. Because I can see the video. I watched it a couple of times, and it's by the entrance to the Interborough Parkway. a dickwad in the left in the Suburban, or whatever it is, a Yukon. He was inching up. You could tell he was going to be a problem. So I just went through because you could see how he was ready to fucking do war with his car and my bike, and I'm not into that. So I'll just be out of there. I'll see it later. I don't even get into it. Just feel like later. But he was inching up, getting ready to do battle. It was like, what the? Come on, man. I'm just on a XR650 with tools on the back, drill, all that stuff, getting ready to go to work. We're on a Sunday drive. So I'll go down 2nd Avenue and pop into the Midtown Tunnel because I'm looking to get to this place as fast as I possibly can. Today, 30 degrees, not bad on this bike, but yesterday was 17, and it's almost unbearable on the XR. I realize now, like I thought about it, I was like, hey, I could probably, you know, when it was over the weekend, it was raining, you know, it was like 40, and I was like, oh, you know, I probably could ride the XR for the winter. You know, sell the KLR or something. No way at all. I mean, the KLR is properly designed. It's a machine that was designed with a 6-gallon tank. I realized yesterday when I was going out, I had to gas up every single day on this bike. It doesn't get terrific mileage. It gets like 45, 50 miles to the gallon. And it gets even worse. Determined was there was no way that I could ride this XR through the whole year, because about the only thing that makes the winter even bearable is the KLR, because it has extra weight. Like I noticed it was just a little bit of ice downtown by Avenue A, and the back wheel was just spinning away because of there's no weight to this bike. So, you know, any ice you hit, you're just gonna go zinging down the road. You know, it's got no grip at all. You gotta stud up on this. Like, you absolutely must stud up on this bike. So I would have to stud up, you know, the entire winter, and drive those studs even when dry, because you don't know what you're going to encounter. So I just, it's a no-go, you know, and I don't know how. And then, you know, and then you're going to have 2 bikes salted up, unless I sold the KLR, which I would, no way, like, there's no way I could. I couldn't even function on this, because yesterday was 17, and I was freezing my ass off on this thing. Like, I felt like I was too cold. Like, I never feel that on the KLR. I never get that. Like, when I stop at traffic lights, I get the heat wafting up, you know, from the engine. It's just a perfect winter bike. And I think they designed it properly, actually. And the Gen 3 is even more, because it's fuel injected. I probably would have been gone already if I had my fuel injection. So, if anything, I'm probably going to upgrade to a Gen 3, because the Gen 2 that I have, you know, is having issues now. But we'll see how simple it is. You know, I'm gonna troubleshoot it as soon as the weather gets decent. Then I can take off the tank and see what's going on. I have an extra stator that I keep on hand. I have an extra coil, spark plugs, all that stuff. You know, fuel line. But I gotta just go through the numbers. I even have an extra CDI, because, you know, when the CDI goes out on a KLR, you're done. But usually when you have a CDI out, you get no lights at all. You don't get nothing. You don't get no. It's not going to be a no start. Usually, but like I said, could be wrong about that. Like, if you troubleshoot no start on a KLR, and you got no start and no spark, and then you change the stator and you still have no spark, you know, then you got a CDI problem, or a coil. But I guess the first thing you'd want to change is the coil, because it's very cheap. Some people say CDIs go first. I mean, stators go first before CDIs. I've heard a lot of riders say that. I don't know. You know, like, I know one time when I wired my heated grips with a relay, but I fucked up something before that. Like, I was doing my heated grips. I had heated grips that are not Oxford, that don't turn off automatically. Like, this has a processor in it. that automatically senses when the battery's being drawn on and turns off. It flashes a little indicator like battery protection, you know, and you know it's in battery protection mode, and it stands by for about a minute or two. Like, so if you're idling at a traffic light or something like that, it'll flash for a little bit, and then as soon as you get up to RPMs again, it will turn back on again. But if it's solid like that with not enough thinking that you're done, you know, riding, it's just assuming. But it works pretty good. I haven't found it to be a problem. Wow. Alright. Now I'm gonna figure out how to get into this tunnel. Usually you can buggy it in the bike lane and just buggy in here. This is the Queens Midtown Tunnel. I figured I'd take this just to stay warm and get into something good. Making sure it was a green light up there, because if I snuck in here and it wasn't a green light, I'd be having a bus coming at me or some shit. I'd have to scoot into this right lane. Very quickly, actually. So yeah, so definitely I could not ride this. There's no way. It's just not possible. There's too much wind coming at you. When, you know, 17 degrees and you're riding completely wide open. You know, it's okay for a quick trip in Manhattan or something like that. But you're not going to be able to go around the 5 boroughs, you know, doing that shit. There's just no way. I mean, it's just not going to match up to what I do. So this bike is a good backup bike, but it is not a vinyl tread. The KLR could actually do it all year round. You know, if I wanted it to, it would be fine. It would be totally fine for all year round riding, the KLR. You know, this is more fun in the summer because when it gets really hot, you don't need all that fairing coverage, and you know, you just want to get out on the wind a little bit. I do notice that the Honda is designed, the engine part seems to be a little bit better designed, but you know, it doesn't carry as much weight. So maybe if the Honda engine was plopped into a KLR, you know, would it be able to handle the weight of the KLR? I don't think so, you know. But the Honda design, like, I don't have to worry about the Honda. I just adjust the valves, you know, on a weekend, you know, real quick. Whereas the KLR, I need to arrange to get somewhere, like you know, I have to go down to Florida, to the house over there, and get in the garage and work on it. Take the head off, do the valves, get the shims. You know, that's not a simple task. That's a very difficult task. Listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, doing the shims on a KLR, as long as you don't drop the timing chain down into the abyss, as I say, it's a scale of 1 to 10. It's a 6. It's not like insane, like, you know. You just match up your timing marks on the flywheel, match it all the way up to your cams, and then just take a picture, you know, before you go fucking crazy taking stuff apart. Don't drop your timing chain, put a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver through it, or something, or whatever you want to put. and a tie rod. Don't drop anything else, a bolts down in this, because then you're going to be taking off the whole entire, you're going to take the whole engine apart. Measure what kind of shim you're going to need, and then you can go pick them up at the dealer or order them online and pop them in, you know. But all of this is, you know, while your entire KLR has a head taken off, you know, it's completely exposed. You can't have it exposed to the elements or anything like that in the parking lot or them, you know, unless you've got a waterproof cover that you're gonna put over it. But there's lots of rats running around, you know. I mean, I find rats on my seat, like I found a half-eaten bagel on my motorcycle console, like on the console here, and I found rat hair all over the bike. So, you know, obviously the rats have been around. And the question is, do you want to leave your head open with rats running around? I mean, they'll be dropping shit into your engine and all that stuff. It's just not feasible. It's not possible. I don't think. But don't get me wrong. In a fly, in a pinch, like if you were in the middle of the Brazilian jungle and your valve was stuck open, of course you're going to find a way to take that off, get it done. You know, you go to some village and get them to take it off. You know, they'll do what they got to do. They'll get it done. And then also what I like about the KLR is it without a doubt the KLR has a more commanding appearance. Like, you know, my neighbor in the building said that bike is mean, you know, like, and I notice it too. Like right now I'm splitting, people are not the least bit concerned. They're, you know, matter of fact, if they want to come over, they'll just come over. They're not concerned about the sound of the XR, which I probably can louden up. Let me guys know what you think. I'm going to take the silencer tip out as soon as it gets warmer. You see what that guy did? He just cut in with no blinker, no nothing. Now he decided to use the blinker. That's a guy you got to watch out for. But on the KLR, you just be mobbing it through here. Even that dude would be like, oh man, I'm not going to mess with that fucking thing. You know, because it has a commanding appearance and sound that your first instinct is, as a driver, even if you don't know nothing about bikes, your first instinct is just going to be like, I do not want this big fucking thing slamming into my door. It's going to smash the glass, maybe the handlebar is going to hit me in the head and kill me, or whatever. You just don't know. Like, you're weighing the odds, you know, do I want to come over on this? But on the XR, if you're in like some shitty Jeep and you don't give a fuck, you've had a bad day, and you really don't give a fuck, and I'm gonna come over on that Jeep. I'm gonna come over on that XR. I don't even know what it is, but it's some red skinny bike. I'm just gonna fucking come over on it. Fuck him. Let him figure it out. You know, that's how some people might think. You know, and you know, even in small cars, they're not afraid of this bike. So I've got to take the silencer tip out because it's definitely not loud enough. It doesn't have that loud. It's not loud enough to command it, some presence. It's just not. I mean, it's clearly 100%. The KLR has a very commanding appearance and sound that is actually safer for you. So I got to take the silencer tip out also because I did notice that on this XR, when I'm approaching corners and stuff, people are just jumping across. They're not even paying attention to the sound. So it's just not loud enough. And that's just New York for you. You know, this would be fine for LA. Because in LA, people are looking for bikes. But like I said, there was one commenter who said, hey dude, you got to remember, taxi drivers are not looking for motorcycles in late January and February. Which is probably true. He had a point. I said, you know what, you're probably right. So that's even more why you'd want the commanding sound of the KLR, because even in late January, taxis are fucking sometimes cutting you off, you know, even with the sound of the KLR, which is quite loud and quite commanding. But you can hear that. That's very, very tame, I would say. It's not even like you know, it's just got like it's very restricted. So I'm popping out that silencer tip ASAP because it's just not what it should sound like. can feel the tips of my fingers are frozen already, and it's 30. So you can understand why this bike is not going to work for winter, for a solid winter months. For me to do it the whole winter, no, it's not going to work. KLR works fine, and we can ride it the whole entire year. It might feel a little hot in the summertime, but aside from that, KLR would be a decent bike to ride all winter long. Oh, and I need to put more knobbier tires on this bike, without a doubt. I put the Kenda K761 because the knobbier the tire you put on the KLR, the more chance they're going to chunk on you, because the KLR is a heavy bike, whereas this is a lighter bike. So what I found is you should put a knobbier tire because they actually grip better. So actually the stock tires that come on the XR, they wear down very quickly, but they're nice. I forget which model they put on these, but decent tires, and they have a nice tread to them. But I'm going to put the Metzeler Kangoo 3 on this bike. I don't know if I can afford to put on the back though, because it's like already, you're talking about $400 in tires. That's big money to be spending on an XR.